Well, hello there. My name is HW.
I'm Stu G.
And thank you so much for watching Junkie TV. We thought it would be cool in honor of the release of all of the some of the Helix and HX Stomp stuff and the IR packs coming out of the Stu G collection. If we sat down and talked about what we put in some of the Helix stuff and you know where we got these tones. There's all sorts of effects in here and stuff. But where'd we get them from? We pulled them right from your pedal board, from your H9. Like these are the sounds that you kind of use on your board and have used on.
I mean, in some ways, it's a little bit like going home because in the early days, using all the Line 6 stuff in terms of the DL4 and the modulation pedal, and I had the Pro Racks for a while out on the road, and so you know when I moved to the Eventides, I was kind of modeling the Line 6 stuff. Loved the use of the dual delay on the Eventides, and that's why I moved to that. But then, you know, coming back to this, it's felt very familiar.
Yeah, there were definitely a couple of times where you were telling me what effects, just from memory, like the legacy effects, the you know flanger or delay that
the Univibe
had been on the the Univibe, and that had been in the DL Pro, and everybody loved those delays, and they're so like, I mean now they're like classic in their own right. It's sort of that like lo-fi digital sound, you know, that's become like its own classic thing.
That's right.
And obviously the Helix has all that plus a lot more stuff. But we shot a bunch of IRs, right? And we shot IRs of your great sounding amps, you know, your 76 Park and your 62 AC30, which has original 62 blues in it. And then you know, G12 M's in, it's like a greenback kind of thing, except they're black on the back. And they did that for a while in the 70s. And these speakers just sound killer. And so, you know, in those IR packs, we tried to take all sorts of sort of classic mic setups with the 121 and a 57 and all the mics by themselves. There's 10 IRs in each of those packs. But they capture it's kind of the sound of those speakers, and then we use that as the building block to sort of go, okay, how can we get as close as possible on the Helix to, you know, your sound? With the Kemper profiles, you know, sort of the thing there is you capture the amp and everything. But how close is the Helix going to get?
And we've talked a lot, you know, about how more than 50% of the sound of the amp is the cabinet and the speaker.
Totally.
And so, so with the IRs, I mean, when we plugged the AC30 IR into the Helix and started building that around, I mean, it was amazing. I mean, my jaw dropped.
I was really surprised too how close the AC30 got, and I mean to the point that like really with the IR of those speakers compared to the actual 62 Vox, I mean if we just recorded it with a 121 and 57 or took this and those IRs, you could trick me. For sure.
No, it's fantastic. And then of course, you know, you got the in the IR pack, you've got the variants of the microphones and what have you too. So, you know, subtle differences, but differences nevertheless.
Definitely subtle, but the character of those speakers comes through.
That's right.
Know? You can hear a 57 as a 57, but those blues are some really great speakers.
They're amazing speakers.
You at one point looked at me and said, "Wow, that really sounds like my amp." And it did. It was, and we built it on the Fawn Bright channel kind of you know block in the Helix into those 62 blue IRs, and then from there we did the Park as well, of course. You know, you've got this 212 kind of Park, and there's some Park models in there, a little bit different, a little more bass in the sort of in the model in there.
I think they've modeled that on one of the big old heads that's probably meant to be used for high gain stuff. But it cleaned up really nice, and you know, it sounds great.
And so we put kind of two versions of all of that in there. So there's like an AC and an AC plus, and a Park Plus in each of those patch sort of packs, and then we put them together because that's really how you've run these. For various projects, of course. You've used a bunch of different amps, but you're a big fan of 2 amps.
Yes.
On all the time.
Yeah, it's just a blend. I love the and predominantly it's kind of Marshall style amps and AC30 style amps. So. Right behind us here, my 4x12 cab. It kind of the Marshall thing just brings a little bit more kind of bottom end and super high end, and then the AC30 kind of sits in the middle.
Sure.
And I just like the blend of it too. And then of course the happy accident with that is as soon as you put a stereo delay into both sides, you get like that big wide thing. And so that if people say, oh, you're running a stereo setup, I'd say I am, but it's kind of an accidental one. It's kind of it's meant to be just a blend, really.
Yeah, you love the sound of 2 amps.
I do.
Going.
Yeah.
But of course, Helix and all sorts of units make it so easy to just get the stereo out.
Yes. And having said that, like my love for that really comes from the live setting.
Yeah.
Like in the studio, I might just use 1 amp. I might just use a little tiny thing. Or just have more than 1 amp going and just use one of them in the, on the track or whatever. It's just whatever the track needs. And I would say that, in terms of like the fact that we've done like a slightly cleaner one and then a pushed one, the thing is for everyone to kind of dive in there and make it their own, and and if something's a bit bright or whatever, then change it.
Totally.
The thing is that. We're offering something that really is close to the sound that we get from the original.
Totally. And even in the demos, we like kind of favor some guitars with some of those, like the Les Paul. It pushes in real life. It pushes the amp a little more.
It does. Yeah.
So when you set up the amp, I mean, we would do this in the studio when we were making the profiles or doing the hours and stuff. You just when you set up the Park or the AC with a Tele or with a Strat. You might up the gain a little more to get that like edge or breakup sound. And then you pull out the Les Paul, and it's really going. So then if you back it off, to make the Les Paul kind of clean where you want, and then you grab the Tele or Strat, it's cleaner. So that like plus and not plus, you can use to sort of match your guitar, do that sort of thing. But there are no rules. I mean, the Les Paul into the plus version. I mean, it's even more rocking, right? It sounds great.
Right, yeah. And then of course we just had fun building and replicating some of the effects that I've used over the years, and we kind of run out of blocks, but then we've kind of thrown them around a little bit, and the same with that, some of the effects might sound a little over the top or whatever. I mean, that's kind of like generally how I love to use things, So in Delirious, the sound was really built around. The guitar sound was a huge part of that band, and so everything was a little bit over the top, So when I first moved to Nashville, when I was doing some sessions, a producer said to me, Stu, when we turn you down, we can still hear you.
It's a compliment, right?
Right. It's kind of, I don't really know how to hide because, like, for all those years I was doing that thing. But so it's fun. We've put some really fun things in there. Yeah,
it's really great. We, for those people who are familiar with the Kemper stuff that we've done, they've heard some of those sounds that you use, like a spring reverb that is pretty pronounced in the mix, but isn't super long. Is shorter than maybe you would get on an actual spring on an old combo. Just sort of there in the sound. With a pretty quick decay.
Yeah, and really that kind of like just helps, especially if you're using ears. It kind of helps to feel like it's in the room.
Like it's not right there. Yeah.
It's just that's it.
Yeah, and you use that a lot on your sound. We got use that from your H9 set on the board. You use it now in the Kemper whenever you're using the Kemper, and I know these sounds as your sounds. The other one is like the quarter note, kind of delay that gives you that sort of leady kind of sound.
Yeah.
And we put that in here.
The tape delay.
Yeah, the transistor tape, the quarter note there.
So yeah. So I always have a quarter note that in a default I can just tap it.
Yeah.
And it's just gonna follow my foot. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason over the years, I literally had a tape delay on my board at one point. It kind of took up that much space.
Right.
But
what, an Echoplex?
It was a high watt high watt tape echo.
Yeah.
And so I like that sound on my quarter note delays for some reason. Typically, like especially everyone loves the edge and what have you, and so my dotted eighths have either been sort of memory man style, with that modulation on it, or the sort of TC style that are more digital, a little bit brighter, but
2290s.
Yeah. But the quarter note, I've always loved that being a sort of a tape delay vibe.
Sure. Yeah, we put that in here along with, you mentioned we put in the Elephant Man too.
Yeah.
To get that dotted eighth deluxe memory man sound.
Yeah, and you just hear the modulation in there.
Yeah, totally. The other thing we put in here was you use kind of like an ambient verb that sort of sits under everything, but this glitz verb sounds kind of so good. We almost brought it up a little bit, made it a little more prominent, just because it's a cool sounding kind of thing.
Yeah, so that's cool, and I like to use that with a. So back in the day, we made an album, and we had this song called "Take Off My Shoes," "Take Off Your Shoes," and there was kind of a happy accident. I was using the Line 6 Pro, Delay Pro, Echo Pro, and I was kind of flipping through sounds one day, and found this kind of stereo delay that was like a quarter note on one side and a dotted eighth on another, and there's nothing new there, except that for that song it kind of like made me feel fantastic, and so I've had that in my arsenal ever since. And so I typically, like, my ambient stuff now is typically that style of delay with a dual delay going on, and that long reverb. So so without the reverb. And then if you, I can't reach it, you'll have to do it for me. If you swell stuff in.
Sure, why not? We'll tag team this. It's a lot harder to do when you're not playing the guitar.
But no, that's my ambient thing, is that kind of, and it just sounds nice if it's a little bit wider.
Yeah. What's great about what we dialed in here is, like, when we're sitting here just like doing the demos, like, and we're saying play the, and I'm going, hey, what do you want to play for this? What's great is these sounds really, you're able to just pull out like delirious stuff as well as the stuff you're doing with Michael W. Smith on the road right now, just with like that same verb and the memory man or the dual delay and the this. I mean, it's really just your sound, and the guitars might move around and the songs change, but these really do sound like your board.
Right, they do, yeah.
Let's check out a couple. So here's you could play us just a couple chords or something and show us kind of the sound of this. This is the Dual Amp Plus.
Okay.
And it's both amps. So it's AC on one side, Park on the other. Yeah. And just show us what that sounds like. We could,
Yeah, so, you know, with nothing else in there. So it's kind of like pushing a little bit, especially with the Les Paul. It reacts like an amp when I'm like messing around. If I put on a and then you know, we've got like a two screamer that's set to kind of crunchy, not sort of over the top.
And it sounds like the FD2 that you use.
So I use an FD2. And just very familiar sounding to me.
Totally. Let's check out some of these other ones, like the AC or the Park.
Yeah.
And let's go to those. Cool. So this is Stu's 62 AC Plus, and it's the AC set, slightly hotter.
Yeah.
You know, pairs well with the Strat. But you mentioned it earlier. But one of the cool things about the Helix is how many effects are in there.
Yeah.
And you're a big fan of all effects, pretty much. Yeah. Right? Like we haven't really found an effect you don't like. So there's flanger sounds you use and like. There's chorus sounds, there's vibrato sounds, there's tremolo sounds, and it's hard to fit all that. Yeah. Definitely, it's hard to fit it when you're trying to do dual amps and dual IRs. Yeah. But so in this AC and AC Plus, and in the Park and Park Plus, we kind of threw in some different modulation effects in there, just so and people can sort of pick and choose. So like
that's right.
On this AC Plus, we threw in some chorus and trem, but on the other one, you know. I think there's a flanger and and some other stuff in there, and people can move them around and mix and match them with whatever works. But you know, show us some of that. So here's
here's like a chorus, which is I think it's based on the old Arion
the classic chorus. Yeah.
So I tend to like my modulation effects quite slow. I know that a lot of people are kind of using them fast now. I was with Matt Tesla the other day. I also like it quite heavy. You know? Almost like a pitch vibrato. You know?
Sure.
So there's that, then tremolo. I think we use the optical tremolo on a sine wave. So I kind of like it smooth, unless I'm wanting that kind of Smith's, you know, thing going on. But we'll change it to a square wave. But.
And you're like you can see on like, you know, on most of the Delirious stuff, you know, you sort of use a lot of times modulation and trem and stuff to sort of change the mood of different parts of the song. Yeah. Whether it's a verse 2 or going to a bridge especially. Yeah. You know? And that's sort of, still how you do it. That's how you use these to sort of just change the character of the guitar.
Like a little lift into a chorus or something. Yeah. You know, put a delay on top of another delay or something, or you know, oftentimes, you know, the magic of a song is in verse 2.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Because you're changing things up.
Yeah, they're hard ones to write too.
Yeah,
right?
whether it's like even like rhythm wise, you know, on what's happening with drums and bass, you know, and so I would often like look for a single note line or something. You know, thinking about History Maker, for instance, and so that. You know, kind of sometimes less is more, but just trying to find that thing that's going to kind of create a little hook.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Show us, like, I mean, because some of these drives are even... You're a big fan of the Fuzz Factory.
Yeah.
And so when we saw that was in the Helix, and you always have a fuzz on your board, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, the kilt is your signature. Yeah. And so, you know, we've talked about the fuzz being the least humble of all effects. You know? Right. It's sort of the, you know, you can't really hide once you turn a fuzz on. It's out there.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah,
but we were really impressed with this industrial fuzz. It even squeals like the Fuzz Factory.
It does, yeah. When you play around with the compression and gate, yeah. So back in the day, I had a Color Sound tone bender, and you know, I just thought that fuzz was fuzz, you know, and then we worked with a producer called Stuccis. Who actually designed the circuit for the Woolly Mammoth that Zvex put out. And so he came with like this octane pedal and the fuzz probe, which was a Fuzz Factory with that copper plate on it. And like a whole bunch of Zvex effects. So Chuck, he was a engineer at Prince's, what's it called? Paisley Park?
Oh, the studio.
Yeah.
And
so he worked with Prince for a while, and like he's got a great legacy and brilliant with guitar tones. So a lot of stuff that I learned was from the few albums that we did with him. And but yeah, so he got me into like these different types of fuzzers, and I became a very fast Smashing Pumpkins fan.
Sure. With
Billy Corgan's vibe and what have you. So
he's a Big Muff guy, right?
That's right. Yeah. I thought you were calling him a Big Muff there for a minute. I thought, well, it's not very nice.
No, it's not. It wouldn't be very nice. It's okay. Me and him are both wrestling.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So industrial fuzz, valve driver, the scream. These are sort of the levels that you're using in addition to the guitars, right?
Of course. So so clean. So here's the scream again. So that would be, you know. You know, and then that's with the valve drive. And of course, you know, put some delay on that.
Yeah.
And you've got but then the fuzz, so the Fuzz Factory.
Can you put some delay and verb? Like, how do you show us that what you use in the song?
Yeah, that would be like a quarter note thing.
Yeah. Would you use the spring on there?
No, just use delay.
It's so spitty and aggressive. Yeah. The delay actually rounds it out a bit, but you still get those little like bits of like, what is that thing? You know, like it just it's really industrial fuzz is a good name for it.
It is
because it sounds it sounds like something made of spare parts.
Yeah,
in a really great way, in a beautiful way. Let's check out the Park too, and let's check out the Park and see what that thing sounds like. But I was really impressed with this AC30 sound.
Yeah.
And how close we got to your actual.
Yeah.
And you've been really happy with the Kemper profiles.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
Since we started this, you keep talking about. Man, I'm gonna have to start using these. I'm gonna have to get one of these and start using them.
That's right. Yeah, I know.
They really do sound. It's amazing how you can feel like today with technology, you can kind of get your sound in different devices. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're really getting somewhere.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's right. So, on the last Delirious album, we did a song, and I borrowed a '63 piggyback AC30. I didn't have mine at the time, but played this. That's really close.
Yeah. It really is. It really is. Let's check out that Park. That's like the all-time favorite. Not bad. Not bad at all. So this is the Stu G's Park Plus, and it's sort of the hotter of the two. And we threw in same thing. There's some the Arion style chorus and the some trem and the go-to effects here. Kind of same thing. Why do you dig this amp? How's it different than the AC30? What's the Park to you?
Yeah. The very first time I heard the Park, it had a kind of, it just hit me as a something that I had to have.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain.
Yeah.
It's all about feeling to me. And when I'm standing in front of it playing with it, you know, it makes me feel like $1 million, you know.
Yeah.
And that's that really. It's really hard to quantify, you know, because some people might get the Kemper packs or the Helix or whatever, and they that just sounds like a cool Marshall or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But to me, it's just like the amp is so special, and it's partly that it's the speakers have just worn in, you know, and then it's partly that the design of it, the way that Jim put like some kind of cap or resistor or something on the bright channel that kind of takes out bottom end until it hits about 12 o'clock. And so you've kind of got this AC30-ish thing, but with that Marshall kind of grunt. And so I love that.
Yeah.
You know.
These speakers sound great. They have kind of a little more extended high end on these IRs than than you get with like the Alnico Blues. You know, those have a lot of times people mistake the Alnico Blues as being bright.
Yeah,
they're bright, but they're bright in a different way than like a greenback is bright or a creamback. Those have more extended presence, where the Alnico really has a push, which makes that chimey quality.
Kind of pointed,
you know, but it's not hi-fi sounding at all. They're actually very sort of vintagey sounding because there's a real shelving of some high-end presence, and so then it pushes in the, I don't know, 2K, 4K, you know, it really sort of pushes there, and that's what gives it that quality. These IRs to me have that similar thing where you can really hear a great example of old, really worn in, you know, broken in this case we call them 76 blackback. But that G12M sound is really beautiful through here. You're able to put in some pretty bright tones and really get a nice high-end roll-off that isn't like, it doesn't, it's not fatiguing to the ear. You know?
That's right.
And in a different way. I'm a big fan of speakers like this. I would say that for me, the G12M and just the greenback sound is my favorite over the time. And I use scumbacks a lot, and those are recreations of those. Creambacks by Celestion are great, and just greenbacks. But these speakers sound really great, and I was really happy on the IRs that we captured them. More low end, definitely, than the blues. But you know, that's what sort of brings this patch, sort of makes it feel similar to your actual park, you know?
Yeah, it's all about feeling,
it is. And in this patch, you know, your actual park is solid state rectifier. And so it's a little tighter feeling than maybe like a 50 watt Marshall 212 would be.
Like a blues breaker.
Which you have, and we've tried back to back, and they sound very different, you know, but you can hear a similar sort of lineage. So we brought the sag down a little bit.
That's right.
In this in this park patch, in the Park Plus patch,
which just you sort pointed me towards that.
Just to sort of tighten it up a little bit.
If you don't know, you don't
know. But really, they sound great, and it's set up in a similar sort of, you know, your sound is one that is sort of present. It's present in the mix, I call it. You know what I mean? And this patch is sort of set up that way to really have a lot of that, like, just sort of present sparkle, you know? And it sounds great. I mean, it sounds like everything from My Glorious to Majesty, even.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's like two opposite ends of the spectrum.
I know.
With the aggressive and not.
Yeah, and you know, you put that.
Yeah, I'm giving you the you're having to remember I'm playing a different tuning, which is pretty difficult, but
So you know, the thing is, when you are like, we have so much at our fingertips, but I still like to feel like I'm in front of an amp that I'm not going to be changing so much out, you know, once I'm out on stage. And that's the way I've approached it for a long time, you know, and so, you know, I'm always changing pickups and, you know, messing around with the volumes and you know, just so that just get that variation of tones.
There's a real opportunity for people who pick up this pack to sort of grab this patch and up the gain. We've really set this up like your setup. I mean, because that's how a real amp, you have to play it. You can't run back there and turn the amp up, turn up the gain. Even though, like, My Glorious is the amp on 10. Like, Majesty's that amp, but it's not on 10. And you can't use the guitar volume to get that different. You know what I mean? You can play it up a bit, but we really built this like your setup, where we've treated the part kind of clean. But there's an opportunity to really come in here and, you know, especially with the Helix, which you can do, you know, up the gain just with different snapshots and stuff. And you can totally do that. That's not how your setup is all the time. But like to what you're saying, that having the limits, right, of like I can't go turn up the amp, but the sound, but I gotta still get the sound on the record, forces you to be more creative, to use these sounds. I mean, you really have like 2 core delays and maybe 2 core reverbs and two core reverbs and like 4 delay sounds, and from those sounds are like all of these tones with just different guitars and stuff. It's really remarkable. And one thing I'll say that I don't think a lot of people do, watching you play more and more, I really started to appreciate the sound of no reverb but delay. Right. Because that's another color. Yes. You know what I mean? Yes. And I find myself never turning reverb off. Right. But maybe I should.
Yeah, well, I've only really had reverb in the last few years. Yeah. I never had a reverb pedal in Delirious at all. Yeah. I did everything with delays.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. What made you finally get a reverb?
Everyone.
The pressure got to you.
Yeah, the pressure got to me.
Gear Talk Praise and Worship got to you.
So one of the things was that the Park has a reverb unit on it.
Right, right.
The AC30 doesn't. Mm. The JMP doesn't.
Right.
And so I was like, I'd really quite like to get that spring reverb into my basic sound on both amps. Yeah. So like when did I start thinking about that? Like when I got the H9s, which was after I'd moved over here.
Yeah. Yeah. From the UK.
Yeah.
To Nashville. Mm-hmm. Had to move to Nashville to get a reverb unit.
That's right. Yeah. But I love it. I do love it, but I don't mind turning it off.
Yeah. That's sort of a thing that I think a lot of you pro guys know that maybe a lot of the Sunday morning guys don't realize.
I think
sometimes you don't need all of it. I mean,
well, I think it's easy for things to sort of stick out and point out when you're not using reverb, and on a Sunday morning you don't necessarily want that to happen. Right. So I understand the smooth thing, but you can do that with just delay too.
Sure. Yeah. That's what's really impressive. Just this dual delay sounds very ambient. I mean, this is just the dual delay on the Park. There's no other effects on.
Yeah.
And just in a mix, you'd think there was verb on it,
right?
And then with like the glitz on top of it, it's
you have to play the right notes though.
You do, especially with delay, right? You keep playing the wrong note. Yeah. No, but when it's just a guitar by itself, you hear maybe the subtlety of the verb, but in the mix, you might not even notice that verb is gone. Yeah. But the guitar still sounds ambient with those repeats and stuff. You know? Yeah. It's really interesting.
Yes. The one thing I'd say to encourage people is, typically the tracks that we hear, the songs that we hear, especially for praise and worship, they're so full, and there's so much going on. And what I would encourage people to do is to really concentrate on their parts, rather than just trying to fill the sound out.
Sure.
I hear a lot, that all you need to play worship is like a dotted eighth because U2 inspired modern worship movement or whatever, and if you go to a U2 concert, you will eat your words, because every single thing that Edge plays and every single sound that they have is so essential to the song. And oftentimes, and I'm guilty of this too, you know, turning up to church on a Sunday morning, I'm not thinking about what is essential. I'm just thinking about trying to make people feel, you know, trying to just fit in or whatever, or play something all the time.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
So, really like work on parts is what I would say.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
That's good. That's probably good advice for all music, right?
That's right.
Well, these sound great.
Awesome.
They sound really good.
Yeah, and thank you for all your help with this.
Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, you've. There was many times where I just sort of left the room and let you fiddle until you were all the way happy with this delay versus this delay, with this verb, or this tremolo versus this track.
I know. I thought you were getting frustrated.
No. No. Sometimes you gotta let the artist make art. You know what I mean? And get there, because there's beautiful tones in.
I really enjoyed the Helix. You know, after the Kemper and how true that is to the tone of everything. I didn't know, you know, what another unit was going to be like.
Totally.
And I've really had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
Like, I really love it. Yeah.
You said to me at one point, you said, how does this sound so much better than the pod? You know, like we've come from like this little weird being that was like fun, but it was like a cassette tape.
Yeah.
Compared to like, you know, lossless MP3s now. You know what I mean? Like lossless streaming is what we have now, and there's like cassette tapes are fun, but we don't want to listen to them anymore. But no, these things sound great, and the IRs are great, and it sounds so great. I'm actually shedding a tear right now. Yeah. No, but they sound really great. I was really happy with how these IRs came out, and really happy with how these came out, and I hope people find them useful and find them inspiring. There's so many great sounds in here. We set them up in Stomp mode, and then we also set them up in Stomp sort of snap mode. Stomp snap, I think is what you call the mode. And so we put like some different tones at the bottom, just combining some of the effects, how you combine them. Sort of clean, crunch. I think the crunch has like a quarter note and a little spring. Clean just has spring on it. And then lead, the valve driver goes on. And
ambient.
And then ambient, and that's where we turn on the
dual delay and the
dual delay and the big verb and everything. And so there's an opportunity to make more snapshots. If people want to go that direction or change them up, use them on. You could easily adapt one of these with just these effects. Easily adapt snapshots to cover a whole Sunday morning. Just by assigning a delay here or there. And going at it. But Stomp mode is kind of how we've been using it, with just like a pedal board. And it really does sound great. The wah sounds great too. It really and it's does. In the demo. People should check out the demo. It's you like your wah after the dirt.
I do.
Which is unique.
Well, I didn't know that. It's when you're messing around and you're trying to find a sound and you don't really know, or you don't feel like you know what you're doing. You trust your ears to what you like,
Yeah, sure.
And so, the amount of times I've done something that is the wrong thing, and
but probably to great effect.
Well, I just wanted I wanted it to be after my dirt, because if I put it like before a fuzz pedal, I mean it sounds good, but I wanted it to sound like a real wide sweep, and it gets lost if it goes before the fuzz. Sure. It kind of sounds a little bit more like the Shimane fuzz thing. The Japanese pedal with the fuzz in it. Yeah. Anyway.
No, it makes sense. Any like EQ curve in a pedal or something is going to shelve high and low. Like a tube screamer after a fuzz is going to cut all the high and low, and that sweep is going to seem a lot less dramatic. And I will say, this sweep seems, it's cool. Yeah. It's really cool. It's the Fazzle wah. Fazzle? I don't know how you say it, but that's what it is in here, and it sounds great. Well,
thanks.
People are probably bored of listening to us talk.
All right.
And they probably want to go check these out.
Yeah, that's really cool. I have a great time, and I'd love to hear your comments. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoy the things.
Yeah, 100%. Hit up Stu and Tone Junkie on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Are you on Snapchat?
I am, actually. Yeah.
Don't give your head away. All right. I wonder, what goes on Stu's Snapchat? I'm not sure. Maybe lots of Tone secrets.
Lots of me pretending to be a woman.
We'll cut this out of the video. No, we won't. I've been HW.
I'm Stu G.
HW and Stu, out.